That's how the number 2 pick is supposed to look. Zach Wilson goes off on the Houston Texans. I want to get into Robert Saleh's comments, Zach Wilson's comments, and 3 elite plays from Zach Wilson. Welcome to Jets Talk. My name's Ryan. I'll be your pilot. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Boys and girls, I want to get into Zach Wilson's game and all the controversy surrounding the previous week and his 3 best plays from this past game. But before we do, I want to hop in and thank our special sponsor of today, SKG Tax. December is here. That means tax season is set to kick off, and it's time to draft an all-pro CPA to create your tax savings playbook. The IRS has instant replay, and when they throw a challenge flag, they charge penalties, fines, and interest that will put you behind the sticks. Don't let the IRS sack your bank account. Hire JR the Tax Czar and drive yourself or your business down the field for a tax savings touchdown. Make sure you check out JR over at SKG Tax. He has been an absolute awesome supporter of Jets Talk 24/7, and he's a Jet fan, so that's like kind of cool. So if you want to support one of our own, would love to have you support a sponsor of the channel. But let's hop into our topic of today. And oh man, Zach Wilson has himself a day. Absolutely has himself a day. And this was one of the most fun games we've been able to watch as fans for like the last, at least this year, for sure. Like this was the most offensive firepower we've seen, probably his best game to date, and this could not have come at a better time. We had all the, the drama surrounding his benching. He comes back in and he's like, oh, clearly he's the best quarterback, but he doesn't seemingly want to play anymore for the New York Jets. And then there's this weird, awkward meeting with Robert Saleh, and he says he wants the ball, and then Robert Saleh has to give a press conference, and he's defending Zach, but there's still all this underlying tension. Aaron Rodgers goes on Pat McAfee. He's defending him on national TV. And it's just this whole whirlwind of fan hate and frustration and drama across the whole world. And the last week sucked. And I can't imagine it sucked more for anyone else than Zach Wilson. And he absolutely needed to have this game. He got to address his teammates, and DJ Reed, or according to DJ Reed, he said, "I'm playing for y'all. I have nothing to lose. What's the worst that can happen? I get benched again?" That's exactly how we wanted him to have that kind of mindset. We brought in Trevor Siemian before the Kansas City Chiefs game. Remember that game after the Patriot game where it just seemed like the season was gonna be lost. This was Zach's back against the wall. He had to perform. Well, you signed Trevor Siemian. His back's against the wall. He has arguably his best game of the season to that point, and arguably of his career, against Patrick Mahomes, and we wind up losing because of some bullshit penalties and stuff like that. But Zach has a really good game. And then you go through this weird long stretch, and then he gets benched. There's this tension, and now he has his back against the wall again. And what's the worst thing that can happen? I've already been benched twice in the last 2 years. And the dude absolutely plays like a freak. Goes off. I want to get into 3 of his plays, but I want to get into some comments made by Robert Saleh, some comments made by Zach Wilson, and we'll talk about everything all together. Here were the comments made by Coach.
Thought Hackett was aggressive. I thought it was a really good game plan, and it was one of those games where all these beautifully designed plays, and we're just not going to be left in the bag. Just let it out, just let the bag loose, and see what happens. And no, it's a fine line because I understand the confusion, but let it rip. It's just trust yourself. Don't be a hero means knowing enough is enough, and being boring is being okay to, just a whole lot of verbiage. But I thought he had great balance today. He was aggressive, but he was smart, taking the checkdowns when he could, but being calculated with his opportunities. And, he was, like I said, he was outstanding. Hopefully he can find ways to build off this one.
From listening to Saleh talk at this press conference, it really feels like there has been a focus over the last few years of Zach Wilson not turning the ball over, being very against the gunslinger mentality. I know with defensive coaches, they tend to be that way. They want a little bit more conservative offense. They want to have their defense sort of be the team or the unit that kind of keeps them in games. Obviously, you want to score complimentary on the offensive side, but you want to eliminate those mistakes. And the gunslinger mentality isn't really conducive for that style of play. And Zach is just at his best when he can just play. So it feels like he's always been thinking nonstop. So this, with saying that he's taking his chances when he can get them, he's got that good balance of let it rip, yet be responsible with the ball. And I think, obviously the little bit of, I feel like there was some sort of stress released off of Zach. I guess maybe there's the stress of going in and possibly potentially playing poorly, but based on how everyone else played, I don't think anyone was going to be upset. And even the fans gave Zach a little bit of a standing ovation when he entered the game today. So it was kind of nice to see a little bit of the coming together of the young quarterback and our coaching staff. I'd like to hopefully believe maybe he could be here, long term. Maybe this whole thing isn't done yet. Zach Wilson had a bunch of good plays today, but I want to get into 3 that really stood out to me. This one was a lot of fun. This was the BYU Pro Day throw that everyone got all hyped up on Zach Wilson about. And this was such a needed play at this particular point in time. Third quarter, coming out of halftime, 3rd and 12. The Jets got to score points. It's 0-0 right here. Zach sees everyone at the line of scrimmage. He motions Bawden into the middle so that way he could protect up the A-gaps. That's where the pressure, he thinks, is where it's going to be coming from. Winds up coming off the edge by way of Becton. He recognizes it quickly, puts his foot in the ground, and gets the spin move going. Works outside the pocket. And you look at this, what other quarterback on our roster is actually doing this type of move? Simeon's not doing it. Boyle's not doing it. Heck, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is doing that. But Zach is athletic enough to get outside the numbers, flip his hips around, and rip the ball downfield to Garrett Wilson. This was such a beautiful play, and I jumped out of my seat when this happened, and it's everything that I wanted to see out of our number 2 pick when we drafted him. So it's finally nice to see this sort of stuff start happening right now. This is what Zach Wilson had to say following the game regarding this throw.
Yeah, I mean, as a coach, you're always like, don't throw those, and sometimes they go the other way. And, so for me, it's throw it when you believe it's there, trust in it, and sometimes bad plays are going to happen, but you have to be able to trust in those and let them rip. And, it's part of football.
Sometimes bad plays happen when you do that, but you have to trust in your arm talent. This is the typical mentality of a gunslinger, and this is what is so frustrating about this coaching staff. Not just like Nathaniel Hackett, but really since Salah has been here. I mean, I guess the entire time Salah's been here is the entire time Zach's been here. But either way, it seems like they've kind of tried to bottle this kid up and not use his athletic gifts because it's too much of a risk that he could cause a turnover. But that's the magical stuff that made him the number 2 overall pick in the first place. So why are you clipping the dude's wings? Let this dude fly. I want to see him absolutely throw the ball all over the yard. Don't worry about what's going to happen. Look, we're at the end of our season. The chances of us getting into the playoffs are like so astronomically small. Let's at least go all out. Let's try to see what this offense can do with an uncorked Zach. This next play here, 3rd and 9. This is after the first touchdown going down the field. This one is to Conklin. You see everyone up at the line of scrimmage. Zach drops back to pass. Everyone's coming. He knows he has man across the board, and then he's got an extra safety over top of Garrett Wilson. So you see him start to his left. He's looking at Garrett Wilson. He's trying to see if this linebacker is coming off the edge, or edge rusher, I guess, with his hand in the dirt, coming off the edge. Turns his attention to the right-hand side of the field. He sees Conklin get past his guy. Look at the leverage here. He's beyond him. He's going to be open here. Zach knows it. The DB is bailing. He's all sorts of screwed. Zach puts it up in a perfect spot where only Conklin can get to this ball. There was like 2 or 3 of these types of throws, and Conklin on 3rd and 9 absolutely made a huge grab here. Big time play by Zach Wilson to keep the sticks moving. As much as I love the Pro Day throw to Garrett Wilson, this was easily my favorite throw of the entire day by Zach Wilson. This one's to Jeremy Ruckert. It's 2nd and 20. Zach had just taken a sack. The Jets are only up by 1 score, so you got to get in. Let's hit him with the the kill shot here, and watch this. The Texans are gonna rush 3. They send 3 down linemen and drop 8 in coverage. Zach starts to his left. He's looking at Garrett Wilson. He's looking at Lazard. He turns to his right. He sees Jeremy Ruckert start to get open. He's gonna snap his route up towards the end zone, but he has to get this linebacker to bite first. So what does Zach do? Zach does a little pump fake. Boom! Now watch this. The leverage is lost by the linebacker at the top of the screen. Jeremy Ruckert is going to be wide open. Zach throws the ball right between 3 defensive backs. They only rushed 3. Zach had to have perfect placement to get this where it needed to be. Look at that outstretched hand. Perfect placement. Jeremy Ruckert, first down. This is the type of play you expect the number 2 overall pick to make, and these are the types of things that get you all sorts of excited. I want to see Zach Wilson have this type of game against the Miami Dolphins coming up because I am so sick of the Dolphins and their damn high horse. The Jets had them dead to rights. It was 10-6. We didn't get to see Zach under center against the Miami Dolphins this year. So the Dolphins don't really know what to expect. Can we just I just want to surprise them. If there's one win I could have the rest of the season, like the entirety of the season, it's against the Dolphins. I really want to knock them off their high horse. I'm so frustrated with everything that we've had to see from them. They are having so much fun down there in what was supposed to be the San Francisco offense that we were supposed to have up here initially, and now they're running all over the place. Tyreek Hill, who could have been a Jet at one point. I just want to beat them. I want to beat them, and I want Zach to be the one to do it. I just want to put them in their place, knock them off their high horse. Boys and girls, let me know what you thought about Zach Wilson's day. Did you like the comments he made? Did you like how he responded? What were your favorite throws that you saw throughout the game? Let me know in the comments section down below. And as always, go Jets. Jets!